Thank you very much for your time and participation. From now on, we are going to begin the panel discussion session. For today's panel discussion, so for the 4 presentations that we just had before, I will actually give speakers opportunities to express something that they could not do during the discussion session because of the shortage of time. And we'll open the floor for Q&A. I will try to allocate as much time as possible for floor discussion because based on my experience, I believe that rather than one-way lecture, the interactive discussion is very meaningful and useful. And I'm sure that you have a lot of questions regarding the theme of this session. So from now on, so we have 3 presenters now. 1 presenter left because of some urgent schedule. So for hydrogen, if you ask question, then I will answer the question instead of him who left. So we have the President Lee Kang-Ki and also 2 other speakers. So if you missed anything during your presentation, please utilize this time to make up for that. So I will give you 3 minutes and you can speak something that you may have not been able to speak during your presentation time. So maybe starting from Lee Kang-Ki.
I would rather like to emphasize for the 2 issues rather than to deliver another or additional, let's say, information. First one is now we have to switch the way of, let's say, thinking and the way of approaching to the issue for our common goal. First one is now it's time you have to think about the whole process. Of course, the ideal world is how the energy is produced and then how this is ended. This is a way of the well to well. This is the ideal world, but this will be extremely difficult because the complexity already from the well to tank. I take a very good example for your car. When you drive a battery-driven car, you see, it's wonderful because there's no sound of engines. I know somebody like sound of engine, but it's very quiet and spacey. Everything is clean. So you believe this is clean car. Yeah? Even my wife say, super car, yeah? It's clean, then you should change to the battery car. But I say, you have to think about how the energy came from the energy source to the battery. Also, this is a law of physics. Whenever you switch, whenever you change one energy to another form, you always lose some percentage of, original source. This is what you call efficiency. So efficiency drops. So the more you change the form of energy, the more percentage of the efficiency or even its own resources losing. So it's ideal that you change less. So for that terms, then you have to think what is really the total energy and what is a really total efficiency, how the energy came from the well to the tank. And then, of course, from the tank to the wake or to the wheel on your car, then it's a really matter of the efficiency of mechanics. This is a very, very simple mechanics compared to the previous one. So that is what I have expressed is a more generalized technology, which is burdened up and lots of stakeholders, they are sharing their role and contribute each of everyone to improve this. So this is not, I'm much concerned. And then the later part from the wake to the grave, yeah? That is even more complex. So it is not the moment. Let's solve problem step by step. Yeah. So that we can put a little bit aside. So at least from the wake, from the well to the wake, this is the way we have to broaden up our thought and also our, let's say, practical measures. This is one message, and the second message is now it is chain of supplies. So when we are talking about transportation, the definition of the transportation is from the producer to the user, how efficiently this is delivered. And now it's a new concept is not just efficient, also very clean manner. This is what we call green transportation, let's call. And then also for the shipping, we call green shipping corridor. So now our aim is to establish a kind of a tube when you are into this tube, and this will be the most safe and green. So how to do this, or how to achieve this, this is all the stakeholders, they have a deep understanding of what is green and how they can contribute. So here we have to not only understanding about contract or way of producing and way of, let's say, the delivering. This is a matter of understanding plus collaboration. All stakeholders, they have to open-minded, and then they have to collaborate. And that's how we can achieve this common goal. So these two messages I like to emphasize, and your questions, I will receive it after my colleague speakers are speaking their topics.
First of all, I have to apologize that I had to run through my presentation. I think one of the issues that was left out from all the presentation was the fact that it seems that by 2050, fossil fuels will still be there. The other fuels cannot cover the gap, and this is why the development of carbon capture technologies will be very, very, very important. The other issue that we have to consider is that today the only available fuel infrastructure is only the LNG infrastructure. Green methanol is not there, and as you have seen in the files, grey methanol will not help. And if we go for more than one or two new fuels, different infrastructures have to be developed. Another issue that may help towards solving the problem, and I believe, by the way, that the IMO targets, everybody is in a way criticizing IMO that their targets are not good enough. What we have to understand is that the 50% reduction in emissions from shipping by 2050, this is what IMO is implementing until now. It's a 50% reduction from the industry. It is not 50% reduction from individual ships. The population of Earth is growing. The prospects is that by 2050, 3 more billion people will be living on this planet, and therefore the IMO targets are pretty difficult to meet. Talking about technology, and since I mentioned the issue of developing infrastructure for different fuels, I think it will be very, very interesting to see if a multi-fuel engine can be developed. This is all from my side. Thank you very much.
저는 말 빨리 해가지고.
I actually have covered all the messages that I deliver, but let me use this time to talk about the autonomous vehicle. So the Movida, back in the 1990s, developed the world's first ADAS system. And as you know, the new vehicles are almost new, all new vehicles are equipped with ADAS. So They're not the autonomous cars yet. However, the ADAS has been provided in order to ensure safety and intelligent driving for consumers. So from low-end to flagship car, all the new cars are equipped with the ADAS technology, which offer a lot of values and benefit. And I think the same will go for ships, that the full autonomous ship is still a distant future. But with this proven onshore technology, if we could successfully apply that to the shipping sector, then I'm sure that we will be able to deal with the various issues that we encounter today, including the safety issues, human labor issues, and so on. And last week, we participated in a motor show for demonstration, and together with the other car instrument manufacturers, our solution will be provided to 25 different ships in Europe for the low-end autonomous navigation. You know, the ADAS is already proven, so its efficacy, safety, convenience, and performances are already proven on the ground, and people do have the same expectation for marine shipping. And so when you interview with the seafarers, I'm sure you will hear similar responses. So I believe that the ADAS can help marine shipping. That's why we embarked on our business. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate your comments. I totally agree with you. Dr. Kim has another matters to attend to. That is why he is not able to join us. And then to give you my comment, as for hydrogen propulsion technology in a well-to-wake and your hydrogen car net zero future, I think this is the best way from a pure perspective of net zero, not just shipyards and various shipbuilding related parts and components. Hydrogen propulsion technology is being developed, and even in the automotive industry. In terms of economic feasibility, as of now, although things will change over the next 50 years, hydrogen does not have sufficient efficiency or economic feasibility compared to fossil fuel. Its performance and efficiency is only 40%. And if the development is not fully realized, then its efficiency will be only 20%. And in terms of capex, it will require 10 times as much resources as fossil fuel. And fuel cell, it's the same. If you mount a fuel cell, about 1,000 fuel cell, it's as cargo, it would account for 40% of the capacity, although the volume-wise, it will be only 10%. However, we have no other option but to go for net zero. That is why many companies and government organizations are focusing on the development of the fuel cell as well as the hydrogen propulsion system. Now, we are testing hydrogen-based and fuel cell-based engine as well. So down the road, as Mr. Hase Gregorius mentioned, after LNG, we would introduce methane. No, we do not have green methane yet. Without green methane, that cannot serve as an alternative fuel. Then the way for us is either ammonia or hydrogen. But these two technologies are very sophisticated and complex. That is why we have to make extra effort. And when I was in Europe last week, I saw the signing of a contract to build an ammonia-powered vessel for the first time in the world. But many people are not sure whether we can actually build such a vessel meeting the deadline. I think, well, technology-wise, we can do it. But in terms of economic feasibility, I'm not entirely certain. And we also need cryogenic technology for hydrogen, the controlling technology, storage technology, and so on. And these are the areas we have to develop further. These areas will become reality at some time in the future. And that's my comment. Now, we have received some questions from the audience, so I'd like to share these questions. We started with Dr. Lee, but sometimes I become naughty, so I want to change the order of asking questions this time. So now I'd like to turn to Dr. Lim.
So regarding the ship navigation system, do you really think that the autonomous navigation is possible? And also, all of these things should be based on software skills, but then it could make them vulnerable to hacking or other types of the phishing attack. As you know, the Ukraine war is still going on, and very ironically, these wars are now fought by software, not by human soldiers. So in such a case, if the ships are attacked by the cyber attack, then who could put trust on them? And also in Korea, Wi-Fi is free of charge, and you can have very convenient access to Wi-Fi services. But if you go overseas, because of the satellite limitations, Wi-Fi is not that convenient in some countries. And so, as you know, ships, they travel all over the world. So would it be any limitation because of the GPS limitation coverage? Thank you very much for the question. So just like autonomous driving car, our solution is an edge solution for autonomous navigation, which means that everything is determined and decided on board. And therefore, even if there could be a potential cyber attack, if the connection is broken from the ground, then no one can attack our solution. So I believe there is almost no cyber threat. And from next year, all the equipment in shipbuilding have to get certificates for cyber security. And I said that we received the certificate from the 5 registers. And so one of the key elements for certificate is the cybersecurity. Aside from that, we also have the system security. We have to have the physical security and so on. So only with this security approver, we can get type approver. So you can see that these attacks are fully considered in developing our solution. Thank you very much. So we talk about the autonomous navigation, and this technology has been pretty mature for automotive sectors. My car is a semi-autonomous, so sometimes I put my car in a autonomous mode for the test driving. So I think things will really develop fast in the shipbuilding sector as well. Back in 2001, when we talk about the autonomous ships, many ship owners and carriers, they had concerns. And they said that if it becomes autonomous, then our seafarers will lose their jobs. And there will be nothing left for them to do. But if you look at what's happening right now, still I think there will be a need for human labor. So we have to have operators and with high expertise that can handle various hardware and software. So I believe that we will soon develop the application, and more researches are expected.
The second question is, the question is to Dr. Lee. So in a nutshell, and for our response to carbon and digitalization, we have to develop a shipbuilding and shipping technology, but in order to meet the requirement and especially the regulation by the IMO, I'd like to know whether this is tank to wake or well to wake. Well, it is not entirely certain, but although we are talking about tank to wake, the tougher regulation over ships. But in reality, as mentioned by Mr. Hatzic-Grigoris, the targets should be clearly defined. And total energy generation is important, but consumption against, according to the production is important. But we have to make sure the alignment between regulation and technological development. We are developing digital technology as well as the decarbonization technologies, but regulations do not seem to be up to date. For example, dual fuel engine propelled ships were delivered, and this year we see more methane powered vessel, but there are not many places for bunkering. The same goes true in Korea as well as in other countries. So although we have the technology, infrastructure is not there yet. So as you can see, the regulation should go hand in hand with technology. The ships and the shipping, logistics, all these different subsectors should go together. In your view, Dr. Lee, do you believe we can meet the regulatory requirements if we solely focus on the ship-related technology?
I take this benefit bilingual, so I could understand both English and Korean. So thank you very much for your question. It's an excellent question and also very important question. When you look at, let's say, what is the major role of the ship and shipping, it's in a way switching over ownership of the goods. When you ship the goods, the ownership from the owner of the goods are shifted to the captain of the ship. And then when the ship is arriving to the destination, then the ownership is shifted from the captain to the, let's say, consigned recipients. So you know, when there is no, let's say, nobody on the ship, then who is the owner of the goods? This is a kind of dilemma. And also for the software, when you have a software, it shouldn't happen, but if anything happens and this result catastrophic, then who is the responsible? Well, is it the development of the software, that entity or person is responsible, or who bought this software is responsible? Or who is operating software is responsible? So when you are talking about all this, let's say, new technology, I mean, I don't deviate soft technology or hard technology, but this highly sensible and highly sophisticated technology always call for the commercial issues. When you are remotely control the ship on board ship or on site, on land, ashore, also same thing happens. Also for the new technology-wise, this green technology I have called, and you always have this kind of issues. So this is something which you have to think about how to govern them. Normally, we agreed this is a kind of international organization like IMO, International Maritime Organization, And then when they are agreeing, this is over 176 countries, and then they agree something, but this is still not the law which you have to follow. Still, the ships are under the control of flag state. Yeah? Which country, which flag this ship is belonging to. So this regulation has to be ratified by the certain flag state, let's say, legal entity. But when you think about the process detailedly, how to control this, this has to be discussed and also technically and logically, let's say, established this way of the control. This is done by the expert group, which is third in a hierarchy. You know, in IMO it's MSC, and then we belong to the MEPC, and then under there is first of all SSE, Ship Safety Equipment Committee. They are the really body who are really discussing and coming up with a regulation, and MEPC and MSC is just the approval body. But when you are talking about this hierarchy of the IMO, we are talking about the IMO total number of the less than 500 people. This is simply impossible for the IMO to come up with a detailed, let's say, procedure how to govern. So when we are talking about, you know, this the egg and hen, chicken discussion, who is coming first? So I think here why I said collaboration is extremely important. The stakeholders, we should accept first the climate issue. This is our common problem, which we all have to contribute to solve this. And then regulating bodies like IMO or flag state, they should keep very constant policy. You know, they shouldn't change one day this and that, and also they shouldn't be unclear. They should be very clear. So when the legislation body, when they come with a very clear position and long vision of the regulations, and they are guiding, then investment will follow. Because investors, okay, here I can invest. So when investor start to invest, the technology providers, okay, now we have a direction, which way of the technology have to be developed. You see, when we are talking about the fuel, and then which fuel we are talking about, I have demonstrated the possible scenarios of more than 10 different fuels. But what fuel will be really, let's say, the fuel to comply this orientation? So that kind of a collaboration, and that is the key how the infrastructure will follow, and also all technology providers will follow, and thereby the suppliers of the manufacturing equipment, they also follow this. So this is maybe very, for you, maybe very loose answer, but there's no other way, to be honest. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. Just to add something. What is happening with the politician is that they set a target and then they ask the industry to comply. And they forget about what the industry is doing exactly. To give you an example, an ammonia engine will be ready this year or maybe next year, but the IGC code does not allow the use of ammonia as fuel. And normally IMO, I don't know the reason. Okay, I know the reason, but I don't want to discuss it now. It takes them years to make a decision. 6 years, 7 years, then you have 18 months to comply with a new regulation. The politicians must act faster. It's a planet problem. It's not a technological problem. Everybody knows that at the end of the day, the consumer will pay the cost, and politicians have to move faster. To give you another example, everybody is talking about liquid CO2 today, but the trading of liquid CO2 is not allowed by the European legislation. They say liquid CO2 it's not a commodity, it's garbage, and you cannot trade garbage. What is happening in IMO? I said I'm not going to discuss it. And I'm not discussing specifically about IMO. But we have the EU fighting IMO, let's say, from the left hand, fighting IMO from the right-hand side. If we are interested to improve, to reduce greenhouse gases, to have a better planet, all parties should cooperate.
Mr. An, I think I have to add at least 2 minutes comment for this. Because once I was working as a representative of government to attend the IMO, and that's why I know a little bit of the detail of the process. Of course, you know, not only IMO, the politicians, they guideline which way to go, but they have to be clear, in time, very consistent. This is extremely important 3 parameters which they have to take a position. And for the new fuel is concerned, as I told you, less than 500 people for all this complexity of technology, this is not possible. That's why the NGO like CIMAC, which I am working for, this CIMAC Greenhouse Gas Strategic Group, and also Euromod, for example, and all those NGOs consisting of lots of expertise, they have to cooperate. Now, the entity which I am working in Europe, and there we are discussing and we analyze which way really have to go, and then we have decided to assign a people actually allocate as our representative in IMO to support them. So one is for the new fuel is concerned, and second one was digitalization, because the way we see IMO is not enough understanding what's the meaning of the digitalization. So that's why we have decided to dispatch our representative also to the IMO, and also we are writing our opinion to the IMO. And not only IMO, we are writing our opinion to the parliament in EU and also the respective minister. So this is also a little bit, I'd like to share how this loose answer I gave you is actually communicated between this NGO and policymakers and politicians. Thank you.
두 분 대단히 감사합니다. 제가
Thank you very much for your comments. And I plan to make a very strong point, but thank you for made such remarks. When Korea first launched the LNG vessel, so some challenges were because of the bunkering. There was no proper bunkering facility. Well, we had to move the vessel from Mokpo to Gwangyang. Unnecessary cost was incurred. And the first delivery of the LNG vessel, LPG powered LNG vessel delivery was not approved even one day before its launch. So, although ammonia-fueled vessel has been recently launched and commissioned, well, no one knows where the vessel can do the bunkering because ammonia vessel is supposed to operate at least 3 or 4 kilometers away from any residential area, and there is no IMO regulation whatsoever as to that. I heard a very funny joke with the net zero. What is the most suitable way if you force net zero initiative, then you will eliminate all animals and all life on Earth, including human beings. With no carbon dioxide, you cannot breathe. Then you can achieve net zero, truly. So that will be nil, net zero. Somebody made that joke. But we have to work together we are in there together because it's mentioned by Mr. Hatzigoris. Because we are in this together, and this is something we have to do together. We have to make a coordinated move. Yesterday, the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries delivered his congratulatory remarks, and I highlighted that we have to work together, we have to move together. We are running out of time. And as I told you, I met many ship owners and charterers, and they asked me to ask these two questions to Mr. Stavros Hatzigoris. So let me deliver this question and share these questions with you because you have such an experience in the shipbuilding and shipping industry, and you really look into the future. The first question is, in order to achieve carbon neutrality, LNG, ammonia, and methane are considered to be the best option for now. But whether it's shippers or ship owners, they are not sure whether LNG, hydrogen, ammonia would become feasible. And what about existing vessels? And new builds are underway using ammonia and hydrogen and methane. And there are various concerns they have to tackle, including the emissions. And if they go for carbon capture and storage technology, they are not sure which way to go or whether they are in the right direction. When it comes to the green fuels, and well, if they have to completely replace the existing fleet, they would have to make a huge investment. An LNG vessel is now at $1.7 billion, and in several years ago it was only $1.3 billion. And because it is much more expensive because, well, they are incorporating all different advanced technologies such as big data analytics as well as the artificial intelligence. Well, then we have to retrofit thousands and thousands of existing vessels. Then retrofit versus new build. Which one should we choose, and what is the best way for us to go? So you have only 2 minutes to address this question.
I will use less. Oops.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I will use less than 2 minutes. My personal view is that, as you may know already, ships do not live forever. Ships live for about 20 years if we talk about tankers and bulk carriers, and maybe 30 years if we talk about LNG. There is no question about what LNG ships will burn. They will burn the cargo because the cargo evaporates and they have to use it, or they have to use additional energy to reliquefy the cargo. The question, therefore, first of, and as I said before, the cost will be shared by the consumer. I don't know if it will be done through taxation or if it will be done if the goods will get more expensive, but unfortunately then the end consumer is the guy who pays the bill. Now, what is also ready today, it is LPG for the LPG vessels, the vessels that are carrying LPG. It can be ammonia in 1 or 2 years' time for the vessels that are carrying ammonia. Retrofit, the market is always we never had in shipping one market. We had most of the times we had the two-tier market. The modern vessels will get a higher charter rate than the vessels that are close to that cannot meet the greenhouse gases. If you have today, suppose that you are a cargo owner, which ship are you going to choose? A ship that can do 15 knots and deliver your product, your property on time, or you will use a ship that can only do 10 knots because she will not meet the greenhouse gases criteria. And since ships take some time to deliver, now the shipyards are full until 2027, maybe some of them they get orders for 2028. I believe that the conversion market will exist. What is the easiest conversion? In my view today, the easiest conversion is methanol. Let's see what will happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If we work together, I think we might be able to find some feasible solution. The road would be quite tough. At least technology-wise, we can be there. But unless we work together, it will be quite tough and long way. Since we are running out of time, I would like to receive 2 questions from the floor if there are any burning questions.
시간이 한 5분 남았.
So we have 5 minutes left. Do you have any questions? I think maybe we have covered too many things already, so that leaves no question for you. Okay, so later if you come up with the questions. Okay, so we have a question. Can anyone give him the microphone?
뒤쪽에 혹시 질문하실.
So the person at the back, I think you seem to raise your hand. No? Was it? Yes, there. I really enjoyed all the presentation. Thank you very much. So what's the ultimate destination that Korean maritime industry aim for, do you think? So the blue ocean for maritime industry in Korea, or ultimate destination, I think it's very difficult to answer that. Technology-wise, Korea is well prepared for various technologies, and we actually have made quick preparation for that. So when the carbon neutrality was announced, in fact, there was a phased approach. So first phase by 2025, and then 2030 and 2050 for eventual carbon neutrality. But then all the plans got capsized within 3 years with the rapid changes. But we quickly responded to that. Why and how? Because government, businesses, and also the academic institutions cooperated and came up with very quick response. However, the shipbuilding technologies, we have excellent technologies for shipbuilding sector, but we have to have technological advances for port and also the logistics as well. But in these sectors, Korea is actually lagging behind. So we have to take a comprehensive approach from where to take. And the technologies of different fields should be developed in tandem. Only then we'll be able to make a real progress. And what's important here is that thankfully the government and the relevant institutions as well as the businesses will really move quickly, and therefore I believe that Korea will be able to stay ahead of other countries, and especially for the shipbuilding sector. But now we also have to think about the navigation, operation, logistics, and so on. So logistics, shipbuilding, and the port, they should be developed in tandem in order to create a comprehensive ecosystem. Otherwise, we may not be able to make a substantial progress. So with that, thank you. So our time is almost up. So very unfortunately, we may have to close our session here because we have next session in store for us. Once again, I would like to thank all the 3 speakers.
We are talking about and the future you will the invitation presentation. We are talking about. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. An. We meet next year again.
Okay, next year I'll take you.
다시 한번 큰 박수
yeah,
부탁드립니다.
Why don't you give them another round of applause to moderator and also the panelists and speakers. Thank you very much for your contribution, and we would like to conclude our session here. We will have a short break, and we will also have a commemorative photo session together with the moderator and speakers. So I would like to ask you to remain on the stage for the commemorative photo.
Ready, photo break now. Please stand there in front of the camera, and then we'll hand out this little souvenir for you. 네, 기념 촬영 진행하겠습니다. Thank you again for the wonderful session, our speakers and moderator. We would like to express our deepest gratitude. Thank you. 네, 고맙습니다. 다시 한번 큰 박수를 부탁드립니다. 이것으로 조선 해양 세션을 모두 마무리하겠습니다. 저희는 잠시 브레이크 타임을 가진 후에 4시 30분
So this will conclude our session, and we'll have a short break. Then we will have marine design session.
The session will resume at 4:30 with the theme Marine Design. We'll see you soon.